Leading up to the big game on Sunday. Bob Halloran is at Super Bowl headquarters at the Conover Hotel in Miami Beach, along with our live eye camera. Bob, it must be quite a setup over there.
It sure is, Ralph, and it's kind of quiet here right now because most of the 800 or so writers that are going to be coming in have not yet arrived. They've been coming in, not too much activity. However, I have one guy a little busy here, and Milt Richmond, sports editor of the United Press International, one of many writers, 42 to be exact, who have covered all of these Super Bowls. Milt, what about? You've come down from New York to the sunny Florida shores. What is it going to be like? Is this an easier week for you than normal, your normal schedule?
Well, Bob, it is a pleasant week. That is to say, the players are made available to all the writers, and when the game itself actually is played on Sunday, it comes as a feeling of distinct relief.
What are you trying to do? There's so much competition. I mentioned all the media people that are here. Are you trying for that exclusive story? Will you get it this week?
Well, you always try, of course, but actually your primary effort concerns itself with covering the essentials, the basics, and in my case, I write a column in addition to covering the main news, and so I always look for a little something unusual.
I noticed that the writers have already began to choose who's going to win. There's 15 writers up there, and all but two have selected the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are, I guess, the favorites. And I think, Ralph, have you got something you want to ask Milt?
Well, I guess the big question would be, Milt Richmond, I don't know what your sentiments are, what side you might be on, but who do you think will win and by how many points?
Did you get that, Milt? He wants to know your prediction, I think, on the ball game.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys have been a team full of surprises, but Ralph, I'll be tremendously surprised if they can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like the Steelers.
Okay, that's about it. And as we said, not too much activity, but there's going to be a lot, and we're going to be with you every night at 6 o'clock for some live reports. Now, let's go back to the studios and Ralph Reddick.
Ken Palmer and Ray Morrison make their living with computers, designing and selling programs. But in their spare time, they use the computer for fun and games. It's programmed to play professional football.
The first time we played it was just before the Viking game, and we played it one time, and the Cowboys won by a fairly substantial score. The second time we played it was just before the Ram game. The Cowboys won by a score of 21-10. The next few times that we played it, the Cowboys won, and we were playing the Cowboys against the Steelers.
With that, Morrison and Palmer begin Computerized Super Bowl number 10. The computer reads out on a television screen, showing the down, yards to go, time remaining, the score, and a selection of plays. But the most fascinating thing about it is a play-by-play description in English of the action taking place. Much like the first real meeting of the Cowboys and Steelers in preseason, the game begins as a defensive struggle. Late in the second quarter, Roy Gerella, or rather the computerized version, kicks a field goal, and the first half ends with the Steelers ahead 3-0. But the second half is a different story. Gerella kicks off, and the Cowboys break it all the way.
34, okay. 24, 14, 4. That was the kickoff return I was telling you about. Okay, that did it.
After that, the game turns into a defensive struggle again. But late in the fourth quarter, the Steelers are driving. How did the game end? Well, Morrison and Palmer know the results, but you'll have to wait until Sunday to find out. Jim Hips, Channel 8 News.
Dallas is going to be wide open, and they're going to present some problems to Pittsburgh because they're going to do a lot of things that Pittsburgh doesn't normally see. And it's not really that hard to defense against them if you know really basic plays they're going to run. So I don't know. Pittsburgh, well, what can you say? Although O.J. penetrated, he's got 200 yards against him. So, and
you think Dallas can upset him?
I think so, because Joe Green's hurt, and when Joe Green's hurt, that hurts you.
Do you have any preference? Would you like to see Dallas win because they're from the NFC?
No, I don't have any preference. I just want to go out there and see a good football game.
Personally, I think Pittsburgh just has that consistency that I was just talking about, and they are very tough. They impressed me a lot against Oakland. I had gone with Oakland for this last game, and they just kept coming up with that ball. So their defense is tough, and they have a hard-nosed quarterback, three hard-nosed quarterbacks, really, and their backfield, of course, you can't beat. So I'm going to have to go with Pittsburgh on that.
Okay, let me ask you this. Lots being said about the shotgun. Okay, if you were Mel Blount or one of the defensive backs for Pittsburgh, how would you approach, handling the shotgun when Staubach goes into that?
All right, well, the thing is about the shotgun is when you see it coming, when you can, you have time to see what's happening, then you basically can prepare yourself for a pass. I guess with cornerbacks, they're going to be pass-orientated anyway, but with the free safety and strong safety, they can now play more of the pass than run. I think for them, it frees them up a little more, but also gives the quarterback a little more time, so it kind of works out, I think, equally there. It kind of compensates for each other.
Well, after seeing Dallas play L.A. the other day, a lot of people underrated Dallas, and right now they really have the momentum going. I think it's going to be one up front. Pittsburgh has an outstanding defensive line, and Dallas do have a little inexperience on the line too, but it's going to be a wide open game, I know, and some of the players I saw Tom Landry come out with on Sunday, no telling what might happen in the Super Bowl. It's going to be a real good game, and people have been saying that the Super Bowls have been dull. This year I think it's going to be a very exciting one.
Who do you think's going to win?
I don't want to go on the line right now, but I guess I'll say Pittsburgh because they're more experienced right now than Dallas, and they have more players that knows what it's like to be there than Dallas do.
The 62 college All-Stars have been practicing since Monday for Sunday's 27th annual Senior Bowl. The game pitting the North and South in battle is the only All-Star contest that is professional from start to finish. The players play by professional rules, they're paid, and are coached by professionals. This year's contest finds Chicago Bears head coach Jack Pardee guiding the South, while Chuck Fairbanks of the New England Patriots heads the North. The game allows the country's top pro prospects to prove themselves, and the importance of the game to professional football is obvious. Head coaches litter the sidelines viewing the practice sessions, and all agree the Senior Bowl is the bowl game for pro prospects. Of the players is evident, as Steve Bartkowski and Robert Brazile, NFL Rookies of the Year, were bowl participants last year. In fact, 57 of last year's 62 players were on NFL teams this year, with most drafted during the first 3 rounds. So with the pro scouts and head coaches looking on, the 62 college All-Stars practice hard, hoping to be drafted high and ending up on NFL teams next year.
The immediate question, Warren Capone, is if the Cowboys win Sunday, will you replace that ring with a new one?
I certainly will. I'm going to put this one up. I'm already looking forward to it, and put that beautiful Super Bowl ring on my finger with Super Bowl champs, of course. And it's just a great feeling to be a part of an organization like this, and to be in a situation where I get a chance to play in the Super Bowl after sort of a disappointing World Bowl league, and so I'm looking forward to it very much.
You realize, Warren, that you may become one of the great trivia items of mankind 10 years from now, named the only player to ever wear two rings in the same year.
Maybe I'm told that all the time, and I've been lucky in the last year, very lucky, and I just thank the Lord that I'm given the ability, and I was in the right place at the right time to be in this situation. So it's a great honor for me. I know that.
Chuck, welcome to Miami in the 1976 Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Happy to be here?
Oh, yeah, you betcha.
How's everything been going in Pittsburgh? How have the workouts been going for your club?
It's been very cold.
Glad to be in warm weather?
That's right.
Pittsburgh. How do you feel? How have all your physical ailments coming around?
Well, I'm coming around.
How is the team preparing? Is it preparing the same way? Are you a little more calm than you were last year when you went to the Super Bowl for the first time?
Well, we're excited about being in the Super Bowl game, just like as we were last year. We have a competent opponent in the Dallas Cowboys, and we're just here to do our job and enjoy ourselves. This is a reward for having a great season, and we come down here to win the game.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers are here for their second straight Super Bowl. They're going to try to accomplish something that not many teams have had a chance to do, and that is win 2 Super Bowls in a row. And like Joe Green says, they're down here to have a good time, yet they want that second trophy. This is Tony Segurato reporting for Channel 4 Sports from Miami International Airport. Well, we've been working hard. We got a good start. It takes a lot of preparation to play Dallas. We got a lot of different offensive schemes. How is this compared to last year preparing? I'm sure you've been asked this many times. Well, it's very similar. We didn't do anything different. We're not going to do anything fancy. We're going to play what we always played and see if it's good enough for us.
Cowboys arrived at Fort Lauderdale Airport within the past hour. The underdog Dallas team will work out daily at Fort Lauderdale's Yankee Stadium. Incidentally, the Cowboys and the Steelers workouts will be closed to the public. Dallas, like the Steelers, will be seeking their second Super Bowl victory. Tony talked with Cowboy head coach Tom Landry.
Well, we're just happy to be here. There's no question about that. The Super Bowl is the greatest event in our business, and we're glad to be back again.
What kind of week has it been for you, realizing that you're here?
Well, it's been a good week for us. We didn't really expect to be here early in the year, and after we played so well and came into the Super Bowl, we're not really sure, I guess in some cases, that we're here. But we're delighted to be down here.
You get better every week, do you think?
How do you feel about being an underdog going into the Super Bowl?
I'm satisfied. It hasn't hurt us yet to be the underdog. So. Well, I don't know whether it makes it easier or not, because whenever you're the underdog, there's a reason for it, and so that doesn't give you a lot of confidence, but still, we expect to be underdogs because we're playing the world champions.
Did you do all your hard preparation in Dallas?
Well, we did most of it. We did most of our conditioning and our harder work there, and we'll be working pretty hard the next 2 or 3 days.
What kind of week has it been? How have the players reacted?
Very good. I mean, they've worked hard, and they've done a good job.
Is there something about the spirit of this team that's even stronger than some of your other teams?
Well, this is a closer knitted team. They work together much better than any team we've ever had, which is really the reason we're here, is because they can work together so well.
Roger, welcome to Miami.
Thank you.
How you feel?
Good. Most exciting thing about this year is we've got a lot of young people and a lot of question marks at the beginning of the season, which have been answered with the play of Harvey Martin, Ed Jones, and of course Preston Pearson came on to take the place of some running backs that had done a good job in the past, and he's just done a great job.
Has it been a week where the heads have been in the clouds, not quite believing that you made it?
Well, no, I think everybody realizes that we were the type team that could make it. We felt like over the last 4 or 5 weeks we played as good a football as anybody in the league, and we knew it would take that type play to get us into the Super Bowl, so we realized we could do it, and we've just done it the last few weeks.
Is the team pretty loose?
You bet we're loose. We're looking forward. We're the underdogs. Now we've got nothing to lose.
Offense is very complicated offense when you got to know well, and they got a defense that's very impressive. Young personnel they got up front.
Well, it's probable as far as me playing in the game. We're going to look at it on a day-to-day basis and see how I progress each day. And if the doctors think it's all right, and if I feel good, then I'll be able to play.
In other words, there is a question. Lynn Swann may not line up on Sunday?
There is a question.
I would imagine now after 16 games and regular season, postseason, and exhibition, really a week of not too much activity here is not going to make that much difference.
Well, it's not going to make too much difference mentally. I think physically it will take a little bit away from you. So, I'm trying to stay involved as much as I can, and, if I can play on Sunday, I'll be ready.
You cannot have too much love for Mr. Atkinson at this point.
Well, I don't have too much love for him.
He may cost you some postseason benefits.
Well, I don't think he's going to cost me too much postseason benefits, or too many, rather. Just that, when I go in and play a football game, I don't look at the defensive personnel, as an individual. He's just somebody out there I have to beat, and that's it.
Anytime you have the chance to be the world champions, it's going to be a tough ball game, and you want to win badly, and you're going to play to win, and that's what we came here for. It's it's not a time where you enjoy Fort Lauderdale or enjoy Miami or Florida. We're still working, and we have a job to do, and it ends Sunday.
That's strange. You got a different attitude than the Pittsburgh Steelers do. They feel that this is a reward for them. They should enjoy themselves.
Well, it's a reward, but the final reward is the World Championship. Mm-hmm. And they may have a little different attitude. I've been here before, and the one time that we lost, you spent the entire off season suffering because of it. And, there's no other way but to win it. We have something going for us in the fact that we're underdogs, and we probably a little looser because we're not expected to win. But we want to win, and we're going to go out there to win. We're going to have to, contain the wide receivers, Lynn Swan and Frank Lewis. They do a tremendous job. They run good routes. They've got a lot of speed. Of course, we're going to need help from our interior linemen to put pressure on Terry Bradshaw to get rid of the ball, keep him from running, and it's going to have to be a team effort on our part.
Do you feel you're going to have to be run conscious, though, because of Franco and because of Rocky Bleier?
Well, our first objective is to stop the run, mm-hmm. and of course that's Franco Harris. And of course, if we do that, he's going to have to put the ball in the air. But Franco runs the ball very well. Terry Bradshaw is a solid quarterback. They have more or less a simple attack. They come right at you. They defeat you man on man, and that's what we're going to have to be ready for. It's just a one-on-one situation.
I was just fortunate to be where I am. I was there at a good time. I didn't have any idea they were going to trade John Nottle. I went in the rookie camp, with an idea just to make the team if I could, and things just worked out for me really good.
Did you see much action in that one preseason game against the Steelers?
Yeah, I think I played about half the game. Mm-hmm. And
what impressed you about that?
Just the strength of them, strength and speed, and the aggressiveness of the defense. When you see somebody tackle, there's usually 5 people in a big pile, and everybody's around, making a tackle.
Do you like the underdog role?
I think so. I definitely do. It doesn't give you a chance to get a big head at all because that they were the world champs last year, and they definitely got a tough team. I don't know. It's really hard to say. We've been really fortunate this year to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't really know how it's going to affect the Super Bowl game itself. Mm-hmm. It really hasn't affected us that much so far this season, but you can't ever tell really in a situation like the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Who's the offensive leader on the club?
I don't know.
The line.
I think all the guys are. They all play a leader role. No one individual stands out to be the leader, but just everybody does. I think everybody takes their own role and plays it well.
There are definite things people talk about when you talk about Super Bowl teams. One, Pittsburgh is the veteran club, and they come in here knowing exactly what to expect. You're the young club. How has the team reacted so far?
I think we handled ourselves well. Being a young club, it's just that, we have 43 guys that go out there and make things happen. We want a winning attitude, and that's what counts.
Is that what's made the difference this year, Ed, the attitude of this ball club?
I think so. Last year, if things weren't going right early and we got behind or something, the guys seemed to have given up too soon, which is something you can never do. That's like relating back to the Minnesota game. It goes to show you that the game's never over until the last whistle blow.
What do you think about the Pittsburgh offensive line? What do you feel that you and your defensive people are going to have to do to put the pressure on Bradshaw?
Well, Bradshaw causes a problem because he's a great passer, and he also has the ability to run. So I think our ends will have to contain him. If not, then we can get it. But our major key will be to stop Franco. If he's able to run, man, then we can forget it.
Played him that often. I think about 4 years ago is the only regular season game I played him head up the whole game. We've seen him a lot in preseason, but Joe plays a quarter, I play a quarter, alternate. Maybe he's hurt sometimes. So I've really only played him once, maybe twice. And I haven't enjoyed it.
You haven't enjoyed it? I think you referred to him something about you'd rather play against a mad dog or something like that? Was that a quote or something?
No, they asked me if I'd like to play if I enjoyed playing the best. I said, hell, I'd rather block a dog any day, just some guy that I can handle.
Does it bother you that that is going to be made a lot of, and or does it give you an extra incentive for this ball game?
I guess it's an incentive. I haven't thought about it a lot, but I guess when I get out there, I'm going to have to be pretty alert to play Joe.
This club, which has 10 or 12 rookies on it, what is the difference?
The rookies kind of add some enthusiasm, and they they do a good job in that third area of the kicking game. That's really important for field position. And when you get those guys running down there like idiots, you know, and tackling the guy on the 10-yard line, that really helps a lot.
Well, I don't think I've been around long enough to be able to put the two in comparison. I can tell you they're both very intelligent people. They know what they're doing as far as the professional football is concerned, and you know, in order to do anything, you've got to have the horses, because the wagon won't go without the horses. I think they both know how to handle the horses and be able to put them in their right places and know who can pull what at what time. Well, I'd like to think it's going to be a good game. Both teams, I believe, have good defenses. And I think that would be good for both teams.
Not too good for you, though. You're an offensive player.
I don't, you know, I think it would be a good game, not only for each team, but for the nation to see a good Super Bowl, and I don't think we've seen that.
Yeah, but most of them have been kind of boring and dull because they've been basically defensive games. People like scoring. They like long runs.
I think that's going to be changed. I think we're going to open things up a little bit. I think they're going to open things up, and I just, you know, I'm really excited about the game in that regard because it's, you know, my old friends. I think it's going to open up a little bit, and it'll be good for the whole nation.
We find it really pleasurable. I'll tell you, it's just great being the underdog. I've played in this team when we were supposed to. We didn't win the Super Bowl by 30 points.
Right.
We'd had a flop season, and people would get on Tom and call him. He'd say he couldn't coach and couldn't win the big one. And you got a team that's been in the playoffs 9 out of 10 years, something like that. And,
right. That's right.
And you get in the last 8 teams and start playing for the championship. You're going to play. You play 500 ball. You're doing good because the top 8 teams, you split with them. That's what you expect.
Good.
And we've done better than that.
This is the 72 team. We were, I would say, a less emotional team because we had gone as far as we could and we had lost. So we had got tabbed. You can't win the big one. So we were in more of a pressure situation. We didn't react to the victories the way this team has. So I'd say the word enthusiasm is the difference. So this team is just happy to, you know, be in the playoffs. And then, of course, now it's even greater being in the Super Bowl. So the difference is enthusiasm and youth. We're not as an experienced football team as the team that beat Miami in the Super Bowl.
Because of that inexperience and because of the underdog world, do you feel this club is coming into this game rather loose?
Loose is not a real good term. Maybe I don't know. I think the game is just as important no matter what. The underdog role maybe takes a little bit of pressure as far as the psychological part of a football game, but yet we've been favorites and haven't won. We've been underdogs in the past, but so it's hard to say. I would rather be an underdog if I had my choice, though.
Well, I'm really happy to be here. You know, I was on that team that never went to any bowl, and
right, you went to Michigan.
Yeah, and I'm here at the big bowl now, you know, and I'm gonna do my best here. And I want to make the best of it. I definitely want to get a diamond ring. As a matter of fact, I have my finger chosen already.
Get your finger chosen, ring size all set, huh?
Yes, definitely.
Did you have any doubts that you'd be back here when you tried to make the club? First of all, did you think you'd had a chance of not making the club when you got drafted by him?
Well, they drafted me at #1 pick, and
but there's sometimes there's some doubt.
Yeah, well, I figured, you know, it wasn't any doubt in my mind whether I could play professional football or not, and I think that they had to think pretty highly of me for me to be their first pick, and I wasn't too much worried about it, you know.
Have you found that after one Super Bowl that when you come down here and you have your secret practices that perhaps, you know, you change things, or do you go basically with what has won for you all year?
Well, you don't change that much. You know, if something is working for you, you tend to stick with it. But like then again, you have to change certain things to the team that you're playing. You have to deal with the situation. But you know, I'm looking at it right now as that we were the #1 team for the 1974 season, and I'm not really looking at it as that we're regaining anything. I'm thinking once again that, you know, that we're going to win it, and not as I said just to regain it, but to prove that we're the best team in the NFL in the 1975 season, and that's the only reason why I want it.
With a couple of quarterbacks who are as good at running the ball as anybody, and pretty darn good also with throwing, does it look to you like Franco Harris or somebody else is going to have to cross the goal line a lot? It's going to be a high-scoring ball game.
Well, I really don't think so. I think there might be a lot of movement in between the 20s. But to get into that goal line, it's going to be pretty tough because I really feel that we're looking at two of the finest defenses in the league today. Well, I think they've definitely been underrated, and I rate them personally as probably one of the best
defensive lines in the league today. I mean, you know, like they're just very aggressive. They're one of the best pass rushers in the league. And as you saw, the 2 previous games, they really shut off the running game of both teams.
Having people key on Franco Harris is nothing new to you. That is a week-to-week thing.
Well, that happens now and then, but you know, just hopefully we can just keep at him, and eventually maybe something will break. And you know, when it does break, I hope it'll be for the score or something.
That's more or less been typical of all Super Bowl games. There have not been too much scoring.
Right, but I think it's going to be more exciting in this one between the 20. But getting across that goal line, I think might be another story, because, as I said, we're looking at 2 offenses that has a lot of threats and a lot of potential to score a lot of points. But then again, we're probably looking at the 2 best defenses. So it's probably something that whatever clicking that day might go.
Everybody kind of feels that why make a big deal out of it? You know, you come down here and it's a game. And you prepare for that game just like you prepared for any other game. You take away the media, you take away all the publicity, and it just becomes another game, you know.
But you do have it.
Yeah, but that's true. I mean, we're still here. So I think the biggest thing is a confidence factor. I mean, this team has been through a lot to the last, 3 or 4 years. And we know that if we're prepared, each individual, that we can play the best possible game ever that's been played. The only way people are going to beat us, and the way we've been beaten in the past, if we beat ourselves, if we make mental mistakes, if you have turnovers, and if the other ball club is, up in a bit and playing excellent ball. And so we feel that if we eliminate those mistakes and go out and play the kind of game we're capable of playing, it's going to be awfully tough, because the opposing team is going to have to be better and play a better game.
Are there a lot of pressures in this game?
Well, pressures in the extent put on by outside people. If you read the press, you got to win. The Steelers are favorite. Dallas is an underdog. Dallas has been loose. The pressure is on the Steelers because they have to defend the championship. Dallas has nothing to worry about. Well, I don't think so. I think Dallas has a lot to worry about. I mean, they've worked hard to get down here, and of course they're not going to want to lose that game on Sunday. So that puts some pressure on them as far as mentally thinking, well, how good are the Steelers? I think we're a very relaxed team because we've kind of been through it in the past. Not relaxed in the idea of it's just another game, we're going to take it very lightly. No, but kind of relaxed with that confident feeling. Okay, we are good. We know what we can do, and we're going to go out there and do it. We'll be able to practice on it on Saturday and get a feeling for it, and at that time decide what kind of shoes you're going to wear.
Does it worry you?
No, it really doesn't worry me at all.
No.
I mean, our field in Pittsburgh is worn and torn, and I mean, it had been the greatest conditions to play under either.
It creates a bit of a problem to me mentally. It's tough to get up for the games, game after game like that. But I think it's easy to come off the bench and play because the pressure is on you. No one wants you or expects you to do a super job. Mm-hmm. It's just your job. You're supposed to do well when you come in.
I was going to ask you that, if you felt that because you were in the background that no one expected you to play a Joe Green type football game.
Well, that's the whole thing. I want people, when they're watching the game, to say, well, the reason why we didn't win or the reason why someone got so many yards because Joe didn't play. I've got 7 quarterback sacks when I've played and been in a lot of tackles, and I hope my presence has been felt out there. I know I've got some respect from some other linemen in the league, and we hope to make a big contribution.
I don't think so. I think it'll be distributed amongst all 11 of us, really. There's not really, I think, maybe more responsibility on the front four to keep Staubach contained, to keep him in that pocket.
Is this the most versatile offensive team you've played this year, do you feel?
They're close to it. I think they pose a problem in that they have a lot of formations. They shift around so much. Sometimes we might have to check off 3 or 4 defenses before they snap the ball, So I think that's our main problem.
Is the shotgun that much of a problem?
I don't think it's going to pose that big a problem for us, really. I think the thing we really have to be concerned about is Staubach, breaking out of the pocket and running for that first down. I think that's the thing that we're most concerned about.
What is it like for Jack Lambert, 23 years old, a second-year man out of Kent State in the 2nd Super Bowl?
It's pretty nice. I hope to play about 9 or 10 more years and like to be in about 9 or 10 more Super Bowls. It's.
I'm sure you like to play in the second half though of this one. Last year you broke your ankle, didn't you?
Yeah, right. That's my goal this year, is to try and make it through the whole game.
I think a lot of other games you have great individuals. For example, last week all the questions were, how are you going to handle Tim Hendricks? How are you going to handle Tim Hendricks? People call and want to know that. This week you can't say, well, how are you going to handle Too Tall Jones, because Jethro Pugh is a giant too. You know, they have 5 great defensive linemen, and you can't concentrate on any one of them. Every guy has to play his best, you know, and I think that is really the difference between this game and other games.
Is it a matter of psyching yourself up?
No, not at all. You had to play. In offensive position, you had to play intelligent football. You know, we've studied films and we have our notebooks, and you know, so that we learn. We know them. You know what they like to do. You know, and you can kind of get an inkling of you know, expect what's going to happen, and it's a reaction. You know, and you're relaxed enough that you can play, you can move.
It means a lot more to me this year. You know, last year I was so caught up in just playing professional football and starting. You know, my first year on a defense like Pittsburgh's. And this year, I think my attitude has changed somewhat in that I've been so much more comfortable this year in playing. I have confidence in myself. I know what more to expect from other teams. And I think I worked a lot harder this year to improve. And it means a lot more to me.
Because it means more to you, do you think it means more to the team as a whole? Do you think they were caught up with the whole thing last year?
Well, I think maybe the first-year guys might have been, but the guys like Andy Russell and Ray Mansfield, Joe Green that have been around playing for a while, now I know what it meant to them, you know.
One of the things they say about you in their release is that you have become a team leader.
That's
very important, isn't it? Do you feel?
It is, and I haven't changed. I'm no different than I was when I was a rookie.
You get a little more respect than you were.
Well, that's the key right there. Just more respect from the players and the coaching staff, and I think that's where the leadership probably takes over then. As before, regardless of what you've done, if the team doesn't really respect you, or if they have doubts of what you can do, you really can't lead them. And I think I've proven that under pressure, and that team's behind me now, and this is what a quarterback's got to have.
A lot of fans say that the Super Bowl is always the dullest game of the year. I guess when you're making the money you are for this game, you really don't care one way or another, do you?
Well, it's really
as long as you're winning.
you know, it's really not the money. I know when I wasn't playing in the game, I was watching it, I was thinking about the money. But it's a great game, and it is typically it's been boring. When I've watched the Super Bowls on TV, I've always left, never watched a complete one yet. And we hope we can move the ball. I hope we can create some excitement and move it and score some points. And I know Dallas is going to be wide open, and we're going to just go ahead and call our normal game and hope that it works. And defense, I hope can continue playing the way they've been playing.
Most of the teams that get to the Super Bowl are pretty good defensive units, pretty good defensive football teams. You have to, before you can win a game, you have to not lose it. And we have that kind of feeling. So we feel that in order to win, you have to have good defense. And we begin there, and then try to branch it out and get all the cylinders working. We want to make sure that we're functioning well in all departments. Offensively and special teams as well as defensively.
This will be a tough defensive game, and I think it's got to be for us to win it, because I think Pittsburgh is their reputation, their defense has been a very consistent factor for 2 years. Our defense has been good and not so good at times, although we've been very good the last 4 or 5 weeks. So we must play a great defensive game to have a chance to win it.
When we were practicing, there was contact maybe a little harder than we would like in practice. In fact, we had some as early as Wednesday, and I think they're getting around to where they're getting their concentration on the game and a little bit edgy. I think that's true.
You know, as the pressure builds up, your players are much more edgy than they normally are, and they'll react quicker in practice to situations. They show their temper a little quicker. This is beginning to show, you know, a little bit in our practices, and this is the way it happens when you start getting a little pressure on you. No, not at all. No, our guys, they don't have fights. Well, the underdog role is something that you might feel comfortable with, in that the pressure may not be as great, although I feel like all underdog roles are a reflection of something. So when you're an underdog, that means most people don't feel that you got as good a chance to beat the opposition. And of course, this is what you're not really hoping for. I would rather be the favorite in the football game, because if I am, then I've demonstrated the things that most people think will win the football game. Based upon you know, what our team has done, I think we have a pretty good chance. I've never been able to say for sure what we're going to do in a game this year, because we really don't have enough background on this football team to judge what we're going to do on any given day. but they keep surprising the heck out of me, you know, as I watch them perform. So anything's within their limit, and therefore they've got a chance to win the game.
We try to approach every ball game as another test. And the test that you have to face, of course, each week is a different set of circumstances. Injuries are different. The field is different. The amount of attention is different. Emphasis is different. There are all sorts of circumstances, but the test of a true champion is being able to weather all of those things. And we've tried to take that kind of attitude, and I think our players pretty much accept that. And as a result, lines are meaningless, and we come down and just try to get ourselves ready and concentrate on the things that are important. And the things that are important to us is getting ourselves ready to block and tackle.
Tonight, Bob is at Miami Beach with NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle.
Pete, you know, in your 16 years as Commissioner of the National Football League, 10 Super Bowls you have gone through. This is the 10th. You haven't gone through it yet. But from all aspects, will this be the most successful? Anything special about it?
Well, to tell you how successful, I could use a pair of tickets. You've got them for me. Now, this is the tightest ticket game we've ever had for a Super Bowl, and the interest seems to be heavy nationwide.
What about the television exposure? Because, of course, we are talking from a CBS affiliate.
Well, I've talked to Bob Wood and some of the others putting the game on, Bob Wessler, and they seem to think it'll be possibly the biggest, or at least equal last year's, which was tremendous.
If the commissioner could write a script for this particular ball game on Sunday, Pittsburgh and Dallas, what would you write?
Oh, that'd be easy. High-scoring, sudden death.
Yeah, right. That's about what the director said yesterday. You know, it hasn't been the best year, Pete, for sports, and I'm not only talking about pro football, but there's litigation going on almost daily. Yesterday, even here in Miami, franchises folding, clubs folding. What do you foresee for 1976? In 1977 and years to come?
Well, I think it'll be a shakedown period. I think that, however, within a year, there's going to have to be some clarification, and I think that it'll happen one form or another, and we can get some stability for sports again, because we certainly haven't had it in any of them, as you know.
Ralph, I think you want to ask the commissioner something, perhaps?
Right, Bob. It's the 4th time in 10 years that Miami has hosted this game. Pete Rozelle, how do you rate our chances to get it back here in the future?
Well, I don't think it's strictly coincidental that this is the tightest ticket game we've ever had. I think that the attraction of the location, Miami, is one of the big reasons, and I'm sure that we'll want to come back again soon.
Bob, a local-oriented question. We've got a debate going on here about the synthetic turf in our Orange Bowl stadium. Should it be replaced, and with what? What have NFL studies shown? Do you have a recommendation on that?
Well, actually, the NFL teams, in very few instances, have a decision on that, because it's done by the stadium and the community owning the stadium. And I guess most of them have gone to artificial surface of one kind or another because they can get more utilization. They can have a rock concert one night and a football game the next.
Okay.
Okay, Ralph. And Pete, thank you so much. And it's not every day you get the most successful commissioner of all of sports to come up here to Carriage House and speak with you. Thank you.
Good to be with you again, Bob.
Have a nice week if you can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, Ralph, back to you.
Hey, Dale, well, Sunday's Super Bowl weekend is upon us. Bob Halloran is at the Conover Hotel, where NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle is holding a news conference at this time. Bob?
Okay, Jane, the commissioner now is before a packed house here at the Conover, and he is talking about some litigation going on in pro football. But he is being asked now about officiating and television, a question coming from the floor. Maybe we'll go up to the commissioner and pick up his answer. The question is about perhaps replays and whether or not they should use replays with regards to the official. Let's pick up the commissioner.
You're not going to change the instant replay. I think it's a great hit with the fan. You have 29,000 plays during the course of the season. And the 6 men officiating the game have a difficult time. I'm sure that they would like, rather than chasing 22 players.
Well, that is just a sampling, Jane, of what's been going on here, and it is, I might say, a little bit difficult communications-wise for me to listen to you. But I might add this one thing. With regards to the suit filed here this week in Miami regarding the expansion draft, the commissioner did say that if this suit does, the litigation does get serious, and the draft doesn't get underway by March, it could cloud the future of the 2 franchises, Tampa and Seattle, coming into the league next season. That's a sampling of the commissioner's annual press conference for Super Bowl 10. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, Bob, thank you very much.
After we determine whether we can have the sale of veteran players to Tampa and Seattle, we have to freeze until that's completed, if we're able to complete it. I'd have to say under those circumstances it's possible. I hope not. I hope we can find a solution, but as soon as you can get this clarified, we want those two cities in the league. Hopefully for 76. And if we couldn't get them in 76, yes, if we could get it cleared up, we'd want them for 77. I think it would just get too fouled up. If you had Tampa and Seattle, drafting players that had to be thrown back in some pool later if they weren't going to be coming into the league, it would just be a very unsettled situation we wouldn't want to have.
In rotation with maybe a few others.
Well, I think that it is, if not by vote, in practice, obviously a permanent rotation city. I think that some of the owners might feel that it shouldn't be every year, though. They like to, as an example, where possible, alternate between the two conference sites, have some rotation of that sort. And it's worked well moving around some, but Miami very clearly is in the rotation pattern because it's a marvelous city for the game. I've had discussions with Bassett in line with his franchise request for Memphis. Apparently, and I haven't looked into the contracts, but according to Mr. Bassett, they are committed to him with legal contracts, which he is honoring. So on that basis, I would assume that they are not eligible at this point. He has said there's been no breach, and he's continuing to honor the contracts with them. So, unless you got into the contracts and found that they were invalid, I would have to say that based upon his assertions being valid, they are not eligible at this point.
Have they or their attorney come to you to contest that at all?
No.
Well, I see it that the league rushed into court to get an injunction, postponed the draft, and then started saying, well, maybe they won't even get a team in an effort to sort of confuse the public so that the public thinks that really it's the Players Association that's done something. We've done nothing, and I'm not sure that legally we could do anything. So for them to sort of put the blame on us is ridiculous, and I think that there will definitely be expansion in Tampa. There will be a team in Seattle. They will have good players, and the sooner everybody stops shouting, maybe the sooner we'll get an agreement.
How do you see it, though? Do you feel that the expansion draft, the stocking, as you say, of players is illegal? Do you think a player should have a choice? Have you given another proposal to the NFL?
Well, we think the players should have a choice, yeah. And again, it seems to me that they could, for example, give Tampa and Seattle the first 2 rounds of the draft completely. They could somehow or other assign the free agents who will be free May 1st, who will be quality veteran ball players. They could ask players who would like to go to Tampa and Seattle, because we know there are many of them who would. And I think then let Coach McKay take a look at those players who want to be there and work out some arrangement for them, and everybody will be happy.
Bob Halloran is with our Live Eye unit now at the Jockey Club, and with him, Bob Wessler, the CBS Vice President in charge of sports. Bob?
First, Ralph, I want to tell you, Bob, that I have watched you for a week, about 22 hours a day. This is the first time I've seen you sit down. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Maybe you can stay here for the next couple of minutes.
Nice to be here.
You were the executive producer of 3 political conventions here on Miami Beach, a tremendous undertaking. How does that compare with what you're doing here, 5 hours of live television sports?
Quite similar. It's really a one-day political convention in miniature. We're using about 18 or 20 television cameras and a lot of technicians and production people from Hollywood and Los Angeles, New York, from right around the country.
How do you plan in your telecast of 5 hours to satisfy the, let's call it, the emotional appetite of the sports fan?
Well, we're going to do 2 things, I think, that are a little different. Number one, we're going to have the fun in the games in the framework. In our pregame, we're doing an hour-and-a-half live pregame from Miami Beach in Miami, in the halftime and in the postgame. And as far as the game goes, well, we've got the 2 best announcers in the business, Pat Summerall and Tommy Brookshire. They're going to call the game, and we're going to try to avoid the guests during the game time.
Is this the kind of the 2 teams, Dallas and Pittsburgh, that is ideal for a TV Super Bowl?
I suppose,
for television?
For television purposes, I suppose you'd have to say that a Los Angeles-New York television matchup for 2 teams would probably be the best, but certainly Dallas-Pittsburgh takes a second seat to no one.
Ralph, this is your old friend here. You like to ask him something?
Yes, Robert. I understand you lose money, or the networks do, on carrying professional football, that you pay more for the rights. than is taken in by advertising revenue. Why do you do it?
Ralph, at best, it's a break-even position with us. It is not a moneymaker. It never has been a moneymaker, as far as I'm aware of. Certainly it isn't this year. We do it because it is a great public service interest. Sports means an awful lot to the people around this country, and it's something that's got to be done, and we do it. Fortunately, we're not going to lose any money, but we're not going to make any money either.
Bob, one final point. TV, of course, is very competitive. Locally, stations compete in news. We have our live eye. Looking at you right now. Yes. On the network level, it seems that sports coverage has become the main competitive arena.
Well, I suppose, Ralph, these things go in cycle. A few years ago, the three networks used to hit each other over the head in prime time. Then it was news, and right now it's sports. Who knows what it's liable to be next year, but right now it is in the area of sports.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob Wessler and Bob Halloran.
Well, as is the story all over Dade County, Ralph, it's a little wet, and I must say, I hope it's a little drier for you guys, because about an inch or two of water here, and this is the booth you'll be working in, Pat and Tom. But the field now is covered. It is, I hope it's not like that, as I say on Sunday. But what about, we know both clubs, Dallas and Pittsburgh, Pat and Tom, have a game plan. What about the announcers? What about a game plan for you guys? Do you have one?
Well, first of all, as you say, I hope it's not like this. This is row 27, by the way. We have a game plan, same kind of game plan we had all year. We both played the game. We both know both teams, I think, very well. We like to get on with the game. We like to play it just as straight as we can. We like to laugh. We like to have fun. We like each other, and that's our plan.
You agree with that, Thomas?
Yes, I do. Pardon that. I've got a little bit of a cold. You don't get them in Florida that way. Yeah, I think that's right. Usually the game carries itself, and between a team that's got to gamble a lot, Dallas, against a team that can do it pretty straight and not have to go out on a limb and be flamboyant, I think it should be interesting.
Have you both seen Dallas and Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we've done Dallas, I think, both Washington games, a couple of other times. I think, in fact, we've seen Dallas 5 times this year. Obviously, we've seen Pittsburgh on film a lot since then. We have great respect for both ball clubs, both coaches.
Do the coaches, Tom, do you get together with the coaches and the players? Do they give you any inkling of what they might be doing?
The players do. Players will still be fairly honest with you, but the coaches are so tight by this time, Tom Landry and Chuck Noll, you know, and they're not really outgoing types anyway, so I wouldn't even think of asking Chuck Noll what his game plan would be. I'm not that strong.
Ralph, anything you'd like to ask these two gentlemen?
Well, Bob, this one to Pat and Tom. This is the big one, of course. A minimum of 75 million people looking on Sunday. Is that something that you think about, and does it make your job that much tougher?
Well, I think if you didn't think about it, Ralph, that something would be wrong with you. You have to think about the fact that you have that many people watching, but...
How many?
75 million.
I never even thought about it before. Now I'm worried.
Let's don't think about it again. Thanks a lot, Ralph.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire. Good luck to both of you. A lot of pressure on you, perhaps more than when you ever played. Okay, Ralph, that's it from the Orange Bowl. A wet Orange Bowl. We hope so. Not on Sunday for Super Bowl 10.
Okay, and Tom, take care of that cold.
What about the people that say that Dallas is just got too many things going for them? That
they had to get Preston Pearson from us to even win a ball game. He's a reject. He's a reject. Team.
Hey! They've been studying handwriting and ain't got no films to study. And we're going to come in with Joe Gilliam anyway.
Okay. You have a Dallas hat back here. Are you a Dallas Cowboy fan?
No, Dallas.
You're a Dallas fan? Come here. These people back, these are Pittsburgh fans. You got a lot of guts to stand in here. They say that there's no chance.
Team win, right? That's what we're here for, the sport of it.
And who do you think is going to win the ball game?
It's got to be Dallas.
We'll show you there's no hard feelings. Have some from the Pittsburgh fans.
You think Dallas is going to win? They say you haven't beaten anybody.
Oh, yes.
Put your hat back so you can see.
You're lucky to be here. Oh, Roger? Roger will be right there. You're lucky to be here. You're lucky to be here.
What do you say to that?
Oh.
All he knows is
we're all lucky to be here, right?
What is past is prologue, as the commissioner of the Globe Theater wrote a couple of centuries ago, and the reason for which we all are here is now at hand. It's game time. It's been 2 weeks since these two teams played, and that's a long time, a devilishly long time for them to keep their concentration and their heads straight and to keep the competitive edge they had after their championship games. In addition to that, these coaches and players have been subjected every day to the same questions by radio, television, and newspaper men, many of them inane. Coach Chuck Noll, what do you think of the shotgun offense? Roger Staubach, tell us about the Pittsburgh front four. Are you surprised your team got to the Super Bowl? Too tall, Ed Jones. How tall are you? Thankfully for all of us, that's over. And this game is now handed over for the people it was intended for, coaches, players, and fans. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here is Super Bowl 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Dallas Cowboys.
For both Pittsburgh and Dallas, today's Super Bowl story began with dramatic chapters in the playoff and championship games. The Steelers faced a Baltimore Colt team that surprised even its own followers by winning the AFC East. Harry Bradshaw departed from the script with a run that ended when Lloyd Mumford upended him. A knee injury temporarily sidelined Bradshaw, adding to the suspense. But typically of this team, the defense broke the game open. Jack Ham forced Burt Jones to fumble. Linebacker Andy Russell picked it up and raced 93 yards to score. Pittsburgh 28, Baltimore 10. Meanwhile, Dallas shocked the heavily favored Minnesota Vikings. All seemed lost with time running out and Minnesota leading 14-10 when Roger Staubach hit Drew Pearson with this fourth down pass. Then with 24 seconds remaining, Staubach threw what he called a Hail Mary pass. Pearson caught it almost 50 yards away. Few more dramatic finishes have ever been written, and the controversy over the question of possible pass interference will outlive this season. And Dallas upset Minnesota 17-14. In the AFC Championship game, Oakland was shutting down Franco Harris when he took a fourth quarter handoff, swept left end, and behind John Stallworth's block on Jack Tatum, romped 25 yards to a touchdown. With Frank Lewis sidelined by an injury, Bradshaw found Stallworth with what proved to be the winning touchdown. All that remained for the Steel Curtain was to stop a final desperate Raider drive. Pittsburgh hung on and won 16-10. In the NFC Championship game, Dallas again was the underdog, this time to Los Angeles. But not for long. Staubach's pass to Golden Richards made it 14-0. Then Preston Pearson, a Steeler cast-off, wrote himself into the list of clutch performers with 3 touchdowns, this one an incredible diving catch. Staubach's old-fashioned shovel pass to Pearson wrote the finish to the Rams' chances, although 3 Tony Frisch field goals wound up the Dallas scoring. Dallas, an incredible 37, Los Angeles 7. And now here, against the beautiful Miami skyline, Dallas and Pittsburgh will put together the final chapter today, Super Bowl number 10.
The Super Bowl today is sponsored by Ford and your local Ford dealer, who invite you to check out the values during their limited edition sale beginning tomorrow. And by the Champion Spark Plug Company, makers of the #1 spark plug in the world.
The Orange Bowl is jam-packed. The temperature is 56 degrees in Miami. Good afternoon. I'm Pat Summerall. This is Tom Brookshire. And after all the hoopla, Tommy, I got to ask you if you're ready to go.
I tell you, I tossed and turned last night. It is not just another football game, Pat. You and I will try to treat it that way. It's going to have the humorous moments, but now it's up to the players. I think Whitaker said it all before the game.
That's where it should be. Let's briefly go over what might be the injury report. It's not very long.
Well, it's not very long, but it's important for Pittsburgh. If Mean Joe Green, and I'm not going to call him mean another time, if Joe Green can't play and force some action up the middle, and he has a bad shoulder and a bad groin muscle, they're not going to be the same defensive club. They have the best secondary in football. I'm speaking of Pittsburgh now. The best 3 linebackers in football, but Joe Green means a lot to them, and I don't know. Without him, I think they might have to gamble themselves on defense.
Their offensive unit, of course, still has a question in their mind about the condition of Lynn Swann. I talked with him yesterday at the final Steeler workout, and he frankly said he wasn't feeling too good. I talked to his father a few minutes ago, and he says that Lynn is still not feeling too well. We'll have to wait and see. As far as Dallas is concerned, what's the situation?
Dallas is extremely healthy. Maybe Harvey Martin might have a slight thing, but there's an old saying in football, the bubbles come up. There won't be any. We're talking about going in the tank, and for a Super Bowl, there is no tank. The injured are going to have to play, and there's going to be walking wounded that are going to do a heck of a job.
I got a feeling that we're going to see one heck of a football game. As you know, Pittsburgh is a very steady, a very solid team that depends on ball control. Dallas, they're not afraid to take a chance.
They do everything from either the spread, the shotgun, or man in motion. They're going to probe in the first period. They're not a big scoring team early, and Pittsburgh hasn't allowed a touchdown all year early, so stick around a while.
Look what I got here, my friend. This is what they use to toss the coin. Dallas won the coin toss, by the way. They will receive worth $4,000.
How did Norm Schachter ever give this to you, the official?
I'm not going to let you hold it too long. Maybe we can split this thing up. We repeat that Dallas won the toss. They will receive. Super Bowl number 10 is about ready. Taken by Pearson, the ex-Steeler at the 3. Reverse comes to Henderson, the linebacker. They've got it set up. He's got 9.5 speed. He can really go. Tom Henderson back to the 44-yard line of Pittsburgh. Stop. Dugan in motion. And Roger, a fake on the first play. Fumble! Dallas got it back. Steelers, Golden Richards back by himself for the Cowboys. They try to block it. They got him. Dallas turns it over again. Pearson. The Cowboys take the lead.
Pass action. Now watch this move by Swan to the outside. Washington has the one chug. But I'll tell you, the young man from SC is fleet. There's the jump. Oh, he gets them both down.
Both teams have scored the first quarter. Quick draw to Newhouse. Good room. A lot of room for Newhouse. Down inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. In the shotgun formation. In motion is Charles Young. Now he comes back to block. Draw back with protection. Then Edwards had a chance on the 26-yard line. Tough wind today, remember. Frisch got it high enough. Let's see. His reaction would tell you that it's going to be good. Shotgun formation. Time the protection works. For a while, I thought he might get out of it again, but the Steelers finally shut it.
Watch this. Here comes the start. Good pass blocking. People are going over and over. The long throw. Look at the tip now by Lynn Swan. And the catch on the other side. He's made two in the right.
It is not good. Is split wide left. Shotgun formation. Staubach to the outside, intended for Richards. Picked off by J.T. Thomas. First interception so far. Thomas to the 30, to the 25. Inside. A factor in kicking field goals at the 23. This one, no good again. Staubach is going to go back with him. Burness right with him. Holmes took a shot and missed. Greenwood and White. Bradshaw sets him down. Cowboys go to the flex. Harris looking to go to the outside. Gets away from one and gets about 5 on it. Bradshaw taking no chances, gives to Harris, and again he gets outside. Cliff Harris takes him out. A defensive battle. This
This time, Staubach behind for the first time. He's going to throw. Down the middle, picked off by the Steelers, Mike Wagner. And down to the 5. At the 9, and 19 yards out. He is good again. 5 carries now for 82 yards. He carried 34 times last year, you recall. Here is Bradshaw. Bothered from behind. Lynn Swann is open. Got it. Steeler touchdown. And pass from Bradshaw.
When you're a great offensive team like they are, they do a lot of things well offensively, and they seemingly got away from the pattern that they normally execute.
Pass complete.
Touchdown in this drive, but they hope to get back into this game.
Staubach looking deep and throwing deep.
Pass interference.
Touchdown, Dallas.
I guess they didn't call it either.
Percy Howard
on the rebound.
This most certainly the last play of Super Bowl 10, unless we have a penalty. Staubach pumps, fires.
That's all.
Picked off in the end zone by Glenn Edwards, and he's going to bring it out. This one is over. Edwards is down at the 28, and the Steelers repeat. Of Super Bowls come to an end with Pittsburgh's Chuck Noll, our repeat champion.
Do you remember anything?
Not a whole lot.
No? Does it hurt at all?
I got a horrible headache. My chin's aching a little bit, but I'm going to live and I'm going to enjoy it.
What do you remember about the game?
I remember a lot about the game. I just don't remember the last play. I was in there. It was a good game. It was I told these guys here, I think it's probably I believe it's the best Super Bowl that's been played. It was passing. It was exciting. It was some good running. Some great catches, throwing the balls, just really, we didn't do our normal thing, but we did kind of a contrary act, and I thought it was exciting. I enjoyed the game. It was really a lot of fun to play. I thought we moved the ball well at first. We were running the ball, and it just took us a little while. We really didn't get going until after we realized. I don't think we really knew we were in this football game until about the last of the third quarter when we started playing good.
You ready to celebrate?
Sometime tonight, huh? All right, excuse me.
Go to the doctor. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I think personally it was an important ball game because I was into the last ball game, and emotionally and psychologically it's the kind of ball game you have to have when you come back from a serious injury. It's kind of thing where if you don't have a good game, you'll always wonder, well, maybe I was thinking too much about my head. Maybe in the back of my mind it was there. Maybe I was intimidated a little bit by the things that Harris said in the newspaper during the week, or by the way I thought they might play defense. And if you don't have a good game, all these thoughts just keep coming back and they reoccur and reoccur. And at the last game of the season, you have to wait all the way into the next year just to find out how you're going to react to it. And having a good game here was the best thing for me. And, all I can say is Super Bowl 11 is in Pasadena, and I live in L.A., and I can't wait to get there. A headache? No. I have no headache. I might have a headache tomorrow morning from a hangover, but that's about it. That's the only headache I'm going to have.
Did you realize that you're named the most valuable player in the ballgame?
I realized it when I was walking up the stairs and someone told me, and
that's got to be important, too.
It's super. It's the best thing that's happened to me in football so far, and I love it.
Well, Jarrella got hit, early on that first kickoff return. He was knocked out. He was not knocked out, but he got the wind knocked out of him, got bruised ribs. And it was a problem on the sideline, and it was just a question of recovery. And that wind is a real problem down there. He was having trouble at that end of the field in practice yesterday because the wind kind of comes through there, and it looks like it's going dead, and at the last minute that thing just dives off to the left. Those were good kicks. That was just a wind problem right there.
Well, basically, what was going through my mind was to get the Staubach as fast as possible, confuse him in the sense of making him get rid of the ball as fast as possible. And that was basically what was going through my mind the whole entire second half, and that's all I could actually function on was to get to him,
Was there any doubt in your mind, maybe early in the ballgame when they were doing a lot of different things, that you may not be a repeat winner with the Super Bowl?
There was no doubt in my mind about my team and my teammates. I knew that we was champion. I knew that we had the ability to come back here for the second time and win, and we did it.
Well,
what do you think about it?
How does it feel now? I think it's great.
It's so beautiful. There's a lot of things that's hard to explain.
Is it as good as the first time?
This is better than the first time. I know how to accept this one. The first one, I didn't know how to accept it.
Well, I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but I had to adjust to however the defense is playing, really. And there's nothing outside, cut inside. Hopefully I could get something, but the pursuit was great, and they cut things off pretty good. So most of the time I just had to go up there and get what I could get.
Did they do anything different than you expected defensively?
No, not really. You know, like we were well prepared for them, man. We knew what they were going to do, and consequently, we just went out there and executed rather than guess.
How do you feel about this one compared to the first one?
I feel greater after winning this one because everything was against us this year. As I said before, all the papers down here were against us, the newscasters were against us. Everybody picked Dallas. You know, we were the bad guys, and this and that. Everybody's pulling for them, and nobody's pulling for us. So we kicked their butts, and now we're getting out of town.
I was helping at times. We had, had him isolated a lot of times, and we did a good job with him. He made a couple of good plays. Like Mark Washington was on him a couple of times. That he was in fantastic position and could have intercepted the ball, but didn't. Because Swan just could have gone either way, and Swan made a great play on him.
Except for fighting the crowds in the Pittsburgh side, it's not very difficult to talk to the people over there, but it's difficult over here. What is the feeling here in the locker room?
Well, I think everybody's disappointed because we felt we could win. We felt we had an excellent chance of winning the ball game. I don't think we have anything to apologize for. I think we have a lot to be proud of. And, they just had the breaks, the big breaks. I shouldn't say breaks. They made the big plays. And that's the game of football. You play it and you play it hard, and if the breaks go your way, you win.
I know this game meant a lot to you, especially since you played for Pittsburgh last year. How do you feel personally about it?
Well, I feel very, very disappointed because I also felt we could win. But now if I had my choice of anybody beating me, I'd rather be my old friends. And, of course, they're the guys that won it. But, like I said, I'm going back to Pittsburgh when I leave here, and I'm going to hold my head up high, and I'm going to stick my chest out. I'm very proud of being a Cowboy at this time.
Well, it's disappointing. We really felt we could win today. We weren't awed, and we weren't intimidated. We knew we were playing a great football team, and whenever you lose, it's tough. And right now, it's just hard to talk and analyze it. I'm just disappointed, but we lost to a great team, and a couple days we'll start getting ready for next year. But it's tough to lose. There's no question about that, and but you can't be bitter about it either. It's you've got to put it in perspective, I guess. I think we knew they'd be tough. We felt we could run on them. We really did, and until the third quarter was a bad quarter for us. I don't know what happened. They made some big plays.
Has that been the turning point for Dallas?
Well, I think the turning point was when we got the ball back. Walt made a heck of a punt, long punt. We got the ball. And on third down, I had to scramble. Preston beat Russell on a sideline pass, and we had a chance for a first down. We didn't get it, and they blocked the punt, and everything happened in about 3 or 4 plays there. And they still have to beat us, and that turned it around for them there.
Was there a little tightness before the game?
I didn't think so, no. I didn't notice any. We were well prepared. They just, of course, they play a team like they do. They make big plays on you, defense and offense, and we felt on their defense that if they made a big play, not to worry about, we'd come back and make a play. So, unfortunately, we didn't make enough of them.
For the Steelers, Golden Richards back by himself for the Cowboys. They try to block it. They got him. And he fakes to Pearson. Staubach going for the bundle.
To the outside, Washington has the one chug. I'll tell you, the young man from SC is fleet. There's the jump. Boy, he gets them both down. A beautiful.
The 26-yard line. Tough win today, remember. Frisch got it high enough. Let's see. That's well back. The blitz is on for Dallas. The Steelers pick it up. Lynn Swan out there. Caught it! What a catch by Lynn Swan. It is. Staubach is going to go back with him. Burness right with him. Holmes took a shot and missed. Greenwood and White. For the first time. He's going to throw. Down the middle, picked off by the Steelers, Mike Wagner. At the 19 yards out, he is good again. 4 times last year, you recall. Here is Bradshaw, bothered from behind. Lynn Swann is open. Got it. Steeler touchdown.
It looked like there was definitely pass interference on. Here's Percy Howard. But it doesn't make any difference. It's still, you don't see it.
Let's go back. This most certainly the last play of Super Bowl 10, unless we have a penalty. Staubach pumps, fires.
That's all.
Picked off to the end zone by Glenn Edwards, and he's going to bring it out. This one is over. Edwards is down at the 28, and the Steelers' repeat goals come to an end with Pittsburgh's Chuck Noll. Our repeat champion